The Genesis account suggests that the structure of the ark was nothing like a conventional boat. This is certainly reasonable, since few of the traditional uses of boats applied to the ark. Its main function was to transport cargo, and the most precious cargo at that. No motive power was necessary. No steering mechanism was required. No sleek design was needed to speed the ark through ocean waters. It merely had to drift with the current. All these factors and others prove conclusively that the shape of the ark was that of a huge flat-bottomed boat. Furthermore, based on our understanding of all the facts, the shape shown here is the one most in accord with the Bible, with reason, and with scientific principles. The size of the ark is given in Genesis 6:15. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. There is a great deal of uncertainty in respect to the length of the cubit used. Several measures have been proposed. 18 inches is the size of the modern cubit. The royal cubit of Egypt was between 20.6 and 21.6 inches. The pyramid cubit is roughly 25 inches. Each of these measures has arguments in favor of its use. Using the modern cubit would have resulted in a size of 450 feet long by 45 feet high by 75 feet wide at the base. If the royal cubit of 21.6 inches was used, the size of the ark would have been 540 feet long by 54 feet high by 90 feet wide at the base. The largest dimensions would arise from using the pyramid cubit, 625 feet long by 62.5 feet high by approximately 104 feet wide at the base. Assyrian records show a length for the ark of 540 feet. The smallest of these systems of measurement would still have resulted in a vessel sufficiently large to fulfill its mission. If we use the modern cubit, then the timbers used in constructing this model would correspond to a size of 24 inches by 24 inches. The length of the longest timber would have been 75 feet. As stated before, trees with such dimensions would have been more plentiful in Noah's day than now. There was also the possibility of fabricating larger beams from a series of smaller ones. Two working models of Noah's Ark with the same design shown here have been constructed in the past. The largest, 120 feet long, was constructed in Holland by one Peter Jansen in the year 1609. It was used commercially for a time, but was abandoned due to the difficulty in arranging for motive power. The other was strictly a model, built by a naval architect named Vogt in 1904. It had a length of 30 feet. In both cases, the most remarkable feature of this design was the extreme seaworthiness of the craft, even in the roughest of seas. We are standing on the deck of the middle floor of Noah's Ark. From here we can begin to see and appreciate the immense size and capacity of this vessel. Behind me, nearly 2 football fields distant, almost 600 feet away, is the other end of the ark. The height from floor to ceiling here is over 16 feet, and the distance from one edge of the floor to the other at this level was 60 feet. This would provide a square foot capacity of over 30,000. But that does not begin to tell the story, because items could have been stored in a stacked fashion from floor to ceiling, providing an immense cubic capacity. This area, we believe, was used as a storage place for food and other necessaries that would be required during the journey. Once the outer surface of the ark was in place, this area would have been in total darkness. When Noah and his sons made their daily journeys here to take items to the top floor, some form of artificial illumination would have been necessary, such as torches or other things. For that reason, we believe that animals and humans did not reside in this part of the ark. We believe that only the top floor was suitable as living quarters. A system of ramps or stairs would have been necessary to give access between floors during the journey. We're still standing on the second or middle floor of the ark. What we'll be looking at is given merely in the way of a suggestion, but some similar concept would have been necessary. This longer ramp is less steep and would have been more practical for regular use. It joins this second floor to the top and would have been used by Noah and his sons on a daily basis to carry food and other materials from here up to the top floor. These shorter ramps are more steep. They join this second middle floor to the bottom. These would not have been used on a regular basis. They would have only been used in case of an emergency. We will be visiting the top and the bottom floors in a few minutes, but before we do, there is one other feature we would like to look at here on the second floor. Creating a model of Noah's Ark was an educational experience in many ways. It required careful thought as to some of the practical issues that would have been faced by Noah and his family. One of those issues is addressed in the next section. It is presented merely in the way of a suggestion for your consideration. We are at one of the two extreme ends of the ark, looking down into this large rectangular tank-like area. Each of these had a capacity of 72,000 gallons. The two at this end, a combined capacity of 144,000 gallons, and likewise at the other end, two tanks. What was their purpose? We believe that there had to be some means for storing fresh water and also waste materials during the journey. It's important to remember that there was virtually no access to the outside world during the journey. There is a rather obscure phrase in Genesis 6:16. In a cubit shalt thou finish it above. The cuneiform sign for cubit and the primitive pictograph which preceded it in the days of Eber and Peleg suggests an angle, and this expression, finished in a cubit above, might well denote what we call the apex, the angle at the top of the ark formed by the meeting of the two sloping sides, much as we might say it finished in an inverted V at the top. It was at this apex of the roof that a small aperture existed to allow fresh air to enter and to circulate. These and all openings of the ark were sealed when it was overwhelmed by the first wave.